it's easy to forget that actually we're all human, regardless of your political beliefs, your beliefs on, immigration or whatever it is.
Whatever the hot topic is.
Whatever the hot topic of the moment is, we are all human, and we all think that we have it right. We all think that arguably some people have a lot, their beliefs are a lot less empathetic to the general population, but we are all human still. Let's talk about the world at the moment. And
do we have to?
Yeah, my point, exactly. And some of the sort of more political, socio-economic and cultural divides that are kind of going on at the moment. It feels like the world is in such a divisive, negative, scary place right now. But I actually don't think it really is, to be honest. I keep telling everywhere I go, everyone I speak to, I say, oh, the world is so divided at the moment and blah, blah, blah. But like, it's not really. If you actually like look at history, the world has always been like this. It's always been so divided, and it's always been wars and strife and aggression and them versus us mentality. It just feels like we're in a new kind of era of that.
Well, I guess the main thing is that we never had 24-hour rolling news, social media that's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are so inundated with news and knowledge and content that none of us can particularly deal with that amount of content on a regular basis like that. But also it does mean that we are constantly on. So we are constantly looking at stuff that we don't agree with, or that we feel, disparaged by or despondent by. And so then we end up getting into rows with people, and that and you could argue also in a dawn of time where social media is available, and we should be in essence more connected than we are, and we are more connected than we ever have been. We are actually probably more divided than we've ever been, or maybe not more divided than we've ever been, but we know about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, connection used to be about connection to our small community, connection to our families, and you would live in multi-generational households, and you'd have your village of people that everyone by name, and you're connected to the natural world and to the seasons, and you grow your own food, and we would have been more connected in that way. Now we're connected to every bit of information, every person, everything that's going on in the world, but way less connected to the immediate people, places and things around us. I mean, some people don't even leave the house from day to day, just sit on their computers or on their phones, like scrolling on social media, and don't get out and see a tree all day, and so we are more connected. We're arguably maybe connected to like not the right things, I'd say.
And I would say you could say in essence that also, because of the way our brains work, we will often seek out things that we don't necessarily agree with, or that we find triggering, just because we tend to, our brains haven't evolved that much over the last 3,000 years. We do tend to go towards the things that trigger us or make us angry or upset, or it's that fight or flight thing, and that's kind of attractive to us in some respects.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about the fact that the anger and anxiety that comes from having like a row on social media is kind of like this similar parts of the brain get triggered in the same feeling as being excited about something. It's like two sides of the same coin, and so it's that same kind of weird dopamine fix. And I mean, we've also got the issue of like the algorithm, and if you're watching Fox News just Fox News and nothing else, then you are going to get a very different political view of the world from if you're watching something at a different channel.
The term echo chamber feels like a relatively new thing, but we are all in them. And like you say, if you're on a platform, or even just your TV, Netflix, Spotify, they're all shooting out algorithms for what they think you might like.
YouTube.
So it's seeing what your capacity is, or things that you're attracted to, and is giving you those on a regular basis, and it's very difficult to deviate out of those things. You know,
Yeah.
I know there's an amazing thing on like people put up on for Netflix, for example, where there's a bunch of codes that you can find.
Yeah,
that
I've seen this.
You type in and then it gives you like, it opens it up to lots of different genres of films that you might never get across, never even know that are on the platform, because because of the way the algorithm works. It's like kind of hacking the algorithm. It would be nice in a way if we could do that with more things. Like we could like put in a code into Twitter, and it would like hack us towards positive content in some way.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and it's tricky because I think what's kind of lost in a lot of these sorts of online debates and stuff is nuance and compassion and curiosity, because I think in life we all want to be right. Like we all want to think that we're doing the right thing, and we want to think that we're on the quote unquote right side of history. Like I don't think many people are inherently evil and just want to like be a contrarian and there are lots of people on some platforms that are just there just to make people feel bad and stress people out and make people angry. Trolls, they call them, obviously. But the majority of people like to think that they're on the right side of history, and so if you're on your right side of history, it's unlikely that you're going to go and have a nuanced conversation with someone that has got the opposite views of you as you, and actually be curious as to why they believe those things and what information they have and where they've got that information as well. And, having a calm, compassionate conversation with somebody, I think it's getting less and less common because there's the anonymity of social media where you can go online and just like say anything to anyone.
Well, and also you are restricted to how much you can say. On certain platforms. I mean, if you haven't got a blue tick, for example, on Twitter, you can only stick to your 140 characters.
That's true. So
you've only got that amount of space to talk to. It's instantaneous, so you can jump into things without even properly like thinking about it or seeking the right amount of knowledge beforehand. Possibly because you want to get that instant fix or whatever it might be.
Yeah, or you
want to put across your
because your heart's racing.
Yeah,
and you're
you want to
like,
put across your point immediately before anyone else does, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different reasons for it, I think. But I would say the fact that you have to do it with speed, haste, and that's probably part of the problem. We aren't giving ourselves the time to just actually sit with something and reflect on it, and then come back with a more nuanced answer or a more nuanced point of view, which would then hopefully you would think would lead to more nuanced conversations about stuff. But I don't see what we're doing online particularly as conversations anymore. We're just really just berating and shouting at one another.
Yeah, it's really it's a topic that's fascinated me for a while because I use social media to post pictures of art and animals and stuff. I don't think I've ever really posted much that's particularly polarizing or divisive. And I engage with people that say nice things about my art, and that is it. That's kind of where I draw the line with social media. I don't get involved in political debates. I don't sort of put, sometimes I'll see something and it's in our human nature to want to put our opinion across. If you see something really stupid or outlandish or whatever, I look at all the comments and everyone has immediately jumped in to put their opinion about it. But I've never really done that. I've always been quite careful to not really put my opinion about anything because my opinion might change within a few weeks. I might think something completely different. And also, do I want people that follow me and admire my work and stuff to then see me posting random crap about my beliefs on social media? Probably not. That's probably not why they're following me. So I've never really used social media for that. But I did get into a few debates recently because I did a sort of charity thing. And it was really fascinating to me because the amount of people that were arguing in the comments with each other. And there was one situation where there was a couple of guys arguing amongst themselves. And I just kind of put some generic, trying to it was trying to calm down two children. I just literally put a very, very unbiased, calm message, whatever. But because I wasn't stating an aggressive political stance, this one bloke then just started attacking me. And it was
poking.
Yeah, well, yeah, not even that, just being really rude and unpleasant and patronizing. And he weirdly had the same kind of values and political beliefs as me. So we were kind of quote unquote on the same side, but somehow he then turned on me because I wasn't being aggressive enough, and I wasn't, whatever I said, it wasn't to his liking, the wording wasn't right or whatever. And then he just started, there was absolutely no curiosity as to like what I actually believed or thought or anything like that. There was no compassion to what was going on in my day. I had a friend visiting from America who was staying with me, who were having a really nice day. And then I see this horrible message on social media and it completely ruined my evening. I was like, wow, like you would never do that to someone in real life. Like,
no, I guess that's the crux of it, isn't it? Like, we wouldn't have these kind of I mean, I'm not saying we wouldn't have any conversations that were binary or conflicting, but yeah, in real life, you would like to think that most people would take a more nuanced approach, or certainly like hear one another or listen to one another. It's not always going to be the case, but you'd like to think that would be the case. Whereas the online world is just a very different animal for that, because like you say, we don't have to be. We don't have to show who we are, and we can be keyboard warriors without necessarily that much of a negative comeuppance, other than people getting angry or cross with us, and maybe being banned from a platform. And then what you do, you just go and create another, account and a profile and start again. So. I think there's lots of things to be. I mean, on the social media thing, I think that social media companies need to be far more diligent with who and what is happening on their platforms. I think I would like to see some sort of Ofcom situation put in place where social media companies are held accountable for the stuff that's getting put on their platforms,
like misinformation,
disinformation. Racism, misogyny, all the things that are bad, all the things that shouldn't be allowed to, I'm for free speech, but like not in the case where it's harming people.
Right.
And so I think those two things would be useful. I did read a thing today, actually this morning, about young people in particular, who I think we can learn a lot from, switching off from social media in general, but are starting to buy old phone handsets.
Oh God.
Getting Nokias so that they don't have to be switched on all the time. And I think there's something for that as well. We all need to take accountability for what we're doing. And I think probably your generation, my generation, we've come into this sphere and we kind of addicted to it. We're all addicted to it. Yeah. I think younger people maybe not so addicted to it and are much more wary of stuff. Particularly things like AI, for example. I know my children are very wary of AI. They're pretty against it as a concept. So I think, younger people are turning off from these things, and maybe that's something we can kind of learn from. Why are they turning off?
Yeah. Because is it too late for us?
Yeah, well, maybe it is, but like, there's a reason why they're turning off, and what are those reasons? They don't want to, they want to actually have proper connection with one another, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it's really tricky. It is tricky. I think it's a slippery slope. It's very dangerous. And like I said, like we've always had divisive times and we've always had issues in the world, but I think it's easy to forget that actually we're all human, regardless of your political beliefs, your beliefs on, immigration or whatever it is.
Whatever the hot topic is.
Whatever the hot topic of the moment is. We are all human and we all think that we have it right. We all think that arguably some people have a lot, their beliefs are a lot less empathetic to the general population. But we are all human still. And the only way, like, think of a time when someone's like berated you and guilt tripped you and made you feel like shit, and then you've thought, yeah, I'm gonna go and change, like make a big change to my life, and I'm gonna change my beliefs and do this, this, and this. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, the only thing that happens when you get made to feel like shit is that you feel like shit, and then you become a less positive person in the world to be around, and like, I'm just sick of people arguing amongst themselves and thinking that they're going to change anyone's beliefs or points of view. Like literally the only way you're going to be able to open someone's eyes to potentially a new way of looking at the world is through kind, calm conversation, asking questions, you know, putting your point across, listening as well. We're not great at listening.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, you know, at the heart of good communication is listening, and perhaps that is what we need to be doing more of, is listening, seeing what other people's points of view are. We can disagree with it, but then, like you say, asking questions, being compassionate about it, and also realizing that we are all allowed to have different opinions on things, and we aren't going to, you know, it's very unlikely we're going to agree on everything with even our closest friends or family, because that's just part of life. We don't all like the same things. We don't all agree on the same things, but that is part of human nature, and that actually getting angry about it and being destructive with your feelings around it is not necessarily the way to move anything forward.
Well, arguably anger and aggression and all of those feelings, like we've all felt them. Like, you know, when you see something online that like someone's spouting something that you don't agree with on social media, like we all get that feeling of like racing heart and rage, and like you want to put your point across, and you're like, how can someone believe this? This is so stupid. Like that is just fear. When it comes down to it, that is fear, and fear is such a low vibrational energy. Everyone, like left wing, right wing, like whatever, it doesn't even matter. Everyone is so susceptible to being like trodden down and controlled by the powers that be if they're in fear. And like, whilst we're all like, in my opinion at least, while we're all scrabbling around in the dirt, arguing and fighting and being like, no, me, you, immigrants, this, that, whatever, racism, you know, homophobia, xenophobia, whatever it is, the rich are only getting rich, you know, the billionaires and the oil companies and the corrupt politicians, like they're only getting worse, and we're all fighting amongst ourselves because this is like...
Well, and you could argue social media companies are
profiting
massively from us,
hugely.
and we're all...
They're all funded by,
with
like social media companies, YouTube, like everything's funded by something, and it all has an agenda. And the only way we can gain some control in our lives, which is arguably what we all just want to feel in control of our lives, and that's why there is a lot of fear at the moment and a lot of divided people, is because we feel like we're out of control. But the only way you can gain that control is if we kind of unite in some way, because at the moment what's happening is we're kind of being divided and conquered, right? Like we're all, like, I've got friends that are, you know, on the opposite sphere of politics to me and have very different beliefs to me. I've got lots of friends that also have the same values and political beliefs as me, but they're all my friends because they're all like kind, nice people that I've chosen to have in my life. You know, the last thing I need is to start like losing friends and having arguments with people and stuff about all of this stuff, because then you end up more alone, more scared, more out of control, more dangerous. You know, it's just, it's a really, you know, strange time we live in.
It is. But I would say, like, as a takeaway from this conversation, I would say one thing that I've tried to do over the years is, particularly if I've got something like kind of, you know, being rage baited or like just feel really angry or cross about, and I've started to compose a post for social media or to message someone or whatever it might be, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about politics, it could be about anything, is to just maybe write it out but then delete it. And then if you still feel the same way in, like, you know, 10-15 minutes time or half an hour's time, then maybe you can go back and reconsider like posting it again. But just give yourself a minute, a hot minute, to just think, do I really want to put that out in the world? What will it serve me if I do that? And, you know, is it gonna, you know, what's it gonna do for me and my temperament and my feelings for the rest of the day, week, year, if I put that thing out in the world? Because I think quite a lot of the time, actually, if you did give yourself a few minutes or half an hour or whatever to think about it, you might rewrite it, you might not put it out at all. And I think, you know, maybe we all need to do a bit more of that rather than just rushing to to social media or whatever, or even to like WhatsApp or whatever it might be, to like message someone or put a post out, and actually give ourselves a minute to just think about it first.
That's a good, it's good advice. I've done that many a time. I've like gone, actually the thing I was just talking about, that bloke writing something to me, and when my friend was round, and I like immediately started typing out, and my friend literally was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I was like, "Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do."
He needs to be put in this
and I
place.
typed it all out, and then I just paused for a second and actually was able to compose myself. But yeah, it's a good advice. Go out, go for a walk, and touch some grass for a second. And also, like, I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, all over the world going on at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, going on in England as well, and I think personally what's helped for me in so many aspects of my life, like not just politics and, people arguing over who's to blame for the economy or whatever it is, but also with like the COVID pandemic. And now everyone's like, wow, if you got the jab, you're going to die, or, oh, like the government's controlling us, whatever it is, right? What has really helped me is listen to some history podcasts or read a history book, and you'll realize very quickly, like, oh, this is not unique. Like I feel like we live in an echo chamber in and of itself, where we think that everything is unique to us. And then I was listening to a podcast about the Spanish influenza. I was like, oh yeah, they quickly rushed and put out a vaccination then as well, and they also like made people wear masks, and they did this, and some countries like Australia did a lockdown, and that's not new. It wasn't COVID-19 wasn't a new thing.
And saved lots of lives, I should imagine.
They did, yeah, exactly. And they had sort of, specialists in this area saying actually like the reason why so many millions of people died of the Spanish influenza was because they didn't do it like enough of the lockdown and the masks and the jabs and all that sort of stuff. And suddenly I went from feeling very fearful and like, oh my God, like out of control in my own life to, no, it is just life. Like, this is just life. It's history and life is very cyclical. These things come round and go around again. Listen to a podcast about World War II, for example, and you'll see many similarities in what's happening at the moment in our own country, like with so much stuff going on. You think, oh yeah, this was happening in Germany, like not that long ago, and we still haven't bloody learned. It's because we're humans. Like, this is just what happens. And then you suddenly get a bit more perspective, and you go from being in your little echo chamber where everything is your beliefs and, your beliefs are the only ones that matter, to realizing that we're just humans, trying our best, and everyone thinks that they're doing the right thing. And we don't all get it right all the time, I don't know about you, but I've definitely had beliefs at some points that afterwards, a few weeks or months later, I've thought, oh, maybe that wasn't quite right, or like I might have misunderstood that or something.
But it's acknowledging that and being okay with it, and that's part of the way we need to conduct ourselves going forward.
Yeah, it's okay to put the shovel down and stop digging your trench. Like, it's okay to just be like, do you know what, actually I don't know enough about this to like have an opinion, and I'm gonna try and find out more, or I'm not.
I've had conversations with people where I feel like I disagree with what they're saying, but I'm like, I'm gonna find out more about this, because I can't debate you on it enough to know, like, to think that I'm going to be, so stringent in my view.
Yeah.
So let me go away and think about it and find out more, and then I'll come back to you with a more rounded opinion on that.
Right. Exactly. And
also, just going back to that thing we were saying about the sorts of people that run social media, when you're thinking about putting that post out, think about who's benefiting from that post. It's probably not you, and it's probably not the person you're aiming it at.
No, definitely
it's going to
not.
be the people that run those sites.
Well, that's another thing. It's like, who are you actually scared? Like, if you 9 times out of 10, the people that are trying to like get their point across in the most aggressive way it is because you feel some kind of need for that control. Like, no, I need people to hear me. And I'd be like, well, actually, like, who is benefiting from this? Who is gaining more control here? It's not, you're not gaining more control, and the person you're berating on social media doesn't care what you think.
Yeah.
The only people that want you to be doing this is the people that run the social media platforms, because they're making big bucks from it.
They're making the big bucks. So take care, everybody.
Yeah, be kind.
Nice. Be compassionate.
Hashtag
take
be
some
kind.
time and stop shouting at one another.